Welcome. Welcome to the Blue Star Connection podcast. I'm Kelly, and this is Kim. We're here with you tonight to discuss the Wu Wei. Shall I talk about myself right now, and then we'll hear what Kim has?
Yeah, tell me, who is Kelly Clan?
Oh, my. So I am here. That's what I am. I'm just here. I have an office. I have a family. I have 3 children. They're now young adults. I have a wonderful husband, and we live in Michigan, and we've just got dumped with a ton of snow tonight, and the weather is quite Christmassy out. So yes, in my office, I do craniosacral therapy, which is a very light touch, works with the nervous system, and it's awesome to just help with many different ailments that people can have. And I also enjoy and love more than anything is my sound energy dynamics, my tuning forks. I like combining the cranial with the tuning forks. I find that it really does a great job of cleaning out the body of all of its sandbags and helps people when they walk out feel much lighter. And, their symptoms don't seem to be as prevalent as when they walk through the door. I'm also the owner of Intuitive Health Restoration. And I have my office in Plymouth, Michigan. I'm a minister of the Order of the Blue Star, and that's a little bit about me. How about you, Kim?
You have a website where they can find you?
My website is ihealthrestoration.com, where you can look up and see what I got going on.
Cool. Yeah. I recommend her. I've had sessions. She's awesome. Very intuitive also. So I'm Kim Messersmith. I live in southwestern Virginia, practically like 2 miles from Tennessee as the crow flies. And I'm also sound energy dynamics practitioner. I'm a hypnotherapist, an energy healer, and lots of other things, whatever people need and I can offer it, I do that. I'm the owner of theperfecthealingspot.com, which people are confused. They think it's a location, but it's not a destination. The perfect healing spot is within you, right inside, because you were born with the perfect blueprint, the divine blueprint for healing, and all any of us are doing is getting rid of what is blocking that natural ability for you to heal. And my website, if you didn't notice, was theperfecthealingspot.com. I'm also a minister of the Order of the Blue Star, so I enjoy helping people with spiritual healing and counseling and whatever I can. How's that? Did I get it all?
I think so. Sounds great. How about your family? What kind of family do you have?
Oh, yeah, they are important. I've been married 30-something years, which is really weird because I'm 28. And my daughter, I must have had her when I was 3, and my son, I was 5. So I started young. That's why I look so great. And my husband is wonderful, and I guess I have 2 grandsons, so that's fun. They are a riot. I don't remember my kids being so funny, but maybe when you're in it, it's not so funny. I don't know. Anyhow, so I guess let's begin, Kelly.
Okay. We're going to start with the Eternal Teachings, written by Christopher Timms. So I would encourage everybody who's on this call to sit back, relax, close your eyes, let the world just fade away and don't even think about it, and just breathe normally and just listen to the words. There is an essence that binds and sustains and is all life. This essence, this living presence, is the oneness that you are. The oneness that you are. Shapeless, formless, and eternal are you, with no boundaries and no container. You were never born, so you can never die. This is the oneness that you are. This is the oneness that you are. With nothing to grow into and nothing to become, for you are all life. You are all life. There's no separation between you and me, the air that we breathe, the sun that shines upon us, or the earth that we walk upon. No separation at all. All life is one, always has been, and always will be. And this oneness that is the air and the earth, this oneness is the season for the harvest and the laughter of the children. This is the oneness that you are. This is the oneness that you are. This cannot be taught to you, for this is not to be understood. This is only to be experienced, appreciated, and realized. Accept this and be free. Accept this and be free. Accept this, all of this, and be. Just be. Just be. Take a deep breath in and slowly let it out. Tonight we are talking about the Wu Wei and how the Wu Wei applies to all of us.
Let me interject that we are not experts on the Wu Wei. We are studying it, learning it, trying to live it, working on it. So this is just a discussion, and we hope you get something out of it.
Exactly. And along with the Wu Wei that we're going to be discussing, it kind of goes along with Christopher's teachings that has mentored us, kind of guided us. He meets us where we're at. He doesn't push us past where we're not willing to go just yet. He just walks with us side by side. And you can find him at his favorite and our favorite website at ChristopherTims.com. So yeah, that is what we're going to be discussing. So do you have anything, Kim, you would like to share about the Wu Wei?
Well, the Wu Wei is also called the original way, or according to the book that we kind of used as our reference today, is the Tao Te Ching by Ralph Allen Dale. I really like this version. I've looked at some other translations. It's by Lao Tzu, by the way. And I really like the poetry in this, and it really just fits with our beliefs. And he calls it the Great Integrity, his translation. And integrity, he means living in harmony with others and with the environment and with yourself. And there's many translations to Wu Wei. I'll let you, how would you translate it, Wu Wei?
I look at the Wu Wei as a flow, as we flow through life, because we're all going to have ups and we're all going to have downs, and it depends on how well you flow through life. There's so many things right now being thrown at us, and being in that state of just being able to allow things to flow through and not get caught up is one of the biggest lessons, teachings that we can give ourselves to help us just kind of, not push, not force, but just be productive, go through life, and try not to get caught up in all the mayhem, especially right now with all that's going on. So yeah, it's an internal process mostly, but it's also influenced by the outside too, and that's where the Wu Wei comes in, because the more you can be still inside, the more you can flow, and things will just, not that you don't have challenges, but they will be able to flow easier, or you'll be able to handle them with more grace.
That was great. I'd also add, it's just letting life move through us, attuning ourselves to nature and how it has cycles. And some of this, I will repeat what you said, but not forcing yourself to go a certain way when, like water, it's just going to go the easiest way. The water, it can chisel through rock, yes, but do we want to keep working at it, or do we want to just go around it? And effortless action is another definition I came in my studies, and attuning ourselves to a way of being. And I like to think of it as being the observer of things instead of reacting to it without thinking, and just observing and responding with, how would you say it? Responding with intention. How do you want to respond to that in a way that can serve you rather than create more problems?
Exactly. Or like in the book, it talks about the great integrity, do things with great integrity, and having that in the back of our mind that, let's be with integrity. The more we can be with integrity, then we can flow more with life too. So it's that, also that yin and yang and the black and white and all that flows into the picture. So yeah.
So we kind of mentioned with the book and the Tao Te Ching, that's where they discuss the Wu Wei. And I want to just, if you don't mind, talk about what those Tao Te Ching means. They translate Tao as the way, the natural order of everything, the natural unfolding of life. And I like this one that Ralph Allen Dale says, the path to live in concordance with unity in the universe. So we're not trying to decide how it should be. We're going with the way things are. And Te means virtue or integrity, but I like inner alignment. So you're just aligning yourself with the universe. And it's also could be practice of the Tao. So the Tao is the way, and the Te is the practicing of it. The power of the way manifesting in action. So how you're observing it, what it actually is. And then Ching means classic or scripture. So it is the enduring wisdom text. And together, drum roll please. It's a guide to the theory and practice of the great integrity. And again, the great integrity is just the nature of the universe.
Right.
So, do you know anything about Lao Tzu, who is attributed for coming up with it? I'm not so sure he wrote it, because the Tao that is written or something, I don't remember how it goes.
I'm not quite sure. I think he did, but I also feel like it was, just um, it was written so long ago that I feel that he was on his journey to be fully realized, and during that time, I feel like a lot of these teachings or a lot of these ways with the Tao and with him came with his his just his realizations, and he was able to put them down into words so that we now have these beautiful poems in that.
Well, what I was reading is it's written as early as the 6th century BC, so that's like 2,500 years ago, and it's composed of only 5,000 characters, so it's not a lot. It's 81 verses. It doesn't take a lot to read it. It took more time to read the interpretation of what it meant than to read the verses. But it has become one of the classic texts for enlightenment, and they say it offers a much-needed alternative to our fragmented modern ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving. And I can attest to that I feel fragmented because I'm going in 100 different directions at once and just trying to let go of what's not really important is a challenge for me. Do you find that in your life, Kelly?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, we all have stuff going on, and there's times in my life that I'm like, I sit back, I take the deep breath in, I blow it out, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can get through this. This is just flowing with it. And then there's other times where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm all over the place. I'm up, I'm down, I'm around in circles, and I'm crying and I'm laughing, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm full of emotions. And so yeah, it just depends on how still I am, and when I realize, if I do, when I finally get to that point where I realize, oh my gosh, you just need to get back into stillness. You need to do your light, sound, and presence so that you can calm down and realize that, this is just another wave. Just keep doing light, sound, and presence, and just flow with life over all the chaos that's going on. How about you?
Me, this is how I handle it. I take on more stuff, and I want to do more. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's probably a way of me procrastinating doing that. Well, I'll do this instead. This sounds more fun than dealing with something else. So I want to do more. And that doesn't quite serve me. So I'm really working on cutting back things in half. That's my goal this year, is to cut back the outside stuff in half and focus on what's important to me, which I'll just share. My 3 words this year, number 1 is my marriage, number 2 is my ministry, and number 3 is money. And I don't mean making money and getting money. I mean being a good steward of the money that I have and not being frivolous and wasting it. And so far, it's not going very well. But I'm having fun.
Well, then I guess that's a good thing. It's
I'm enjoying life. I'm doing the Wei Wu. I'm not doing the Wu Wei. I don't know. But Kelly, so you mentioned light, sound, and presence, which our listeners might not know what that's about. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
So light, sound, and presence is it's been around since the beginning of time. Christopher teaches light, sound, and presence as a way of us cultivating our stillness within us. And The light is when you close your eyes, you start seeing grainy-like um, picture. Yes, in your eyes, you can start seeing this grainy-like picture. The sound is the word of the universe, the hum of God, the whatever you want to call it, but it is part of the big universe, the big bang, the big whatever you, again, whatever your verbiage is for that. And then the presence is just being able to be still with where you are right then, and allowing that fullness that it is, but it's also emptiness at the same time. And it's a great way to calm the nervous system down. It's a great way to just recalibrate and, again, just help yourself get through some of the turmoil that might be going on in your life. And you're like, what do I do? Well, if you just kind of stop and you close your eyes and you look for that grain and you start to listen for that sound and feel that presence, it's just this calming feeling all over your body that I feel, and it's just very, very helpful. I find it very beneficial.
My favorite words Christopher uses to describe, well, maybe they didn't come from Christopher, they're the eternal teachings, that of the sound is the song of the universe. And I always think of Led Zeppelin's song, The Song Remains the Same. I'm always thinking of that. And Christopher also talks about the Big Bang didn't just happen, it's still going on, it's coming back and forth. So he calls it the Big Banging, and I love that. He also, this is what he recommends for meditation, that you do it just for 10 seconds at a time, but do it like 20 or 30 times a day. So if you're get in the car and you're about to turn the key or push the button these days, for the youngins, we used to have a key. Anyway, to just stop for 10 seconds and go within for a moment, and then go on your way. When you get there, stop. When you're using the restroom, stop. When you're about to fall asleep, do it then. Just those transition times. And I was telling Kelly the other day, yeah, I'm not so good at remembering to do it. And a lot of times, it's funny, because I'll remember when I'm doing something, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to listen with my eyes open. It's because, correct me if I'm wrong, he wants us to always be listening to that sound.
Yes, yes. And you can also get to a point where you can start seeing that grain-like texture too with your eyes open. Mm-hmm. So you also, you don't always have to have your eyes closed. You can just stop and listen, but it helps to close the eyes to just kind of calm everything down, because it stops that stimulation with the eyes. But you can get that without closing your eyes. But it brings us, to the Wu Wei, because the Wu Wei talks about just flowing and bringing that light, sound, and presence into the Wu Wei helps us flow a little bit easier. And so, yeah.
So that's another thing I want to focus on this year, is remembering to do my light, sound, and presence. So y'all can quiz me later. How are you doing with your light, sound, and presence? And I'll be like, so anyhow, we've prepared, put together some parables that illustrate the Wu Wei. So I thought we'd take turns and we can give you a parable, and I'm going to start it. I'm not even going to ask you, Kelly. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
This one's called The Farmer and the Shoots.
Oh, okay.
She sounds surprised. Okay. A farmer noticed his seedlings growing slowly. Wanting to help, he pulled gently on each one to make it taller. By morning, the plants had withered. His neighbor, who had done nothing but water and wait, harvested a full field weeks later. Because, growth cannot be hurried without harm. So I'm also going to share a verse that was in the book that I showed y'all. It's verse 63. It's about acting without acting and work without effort. And the title of this verse is called The Secrets of Getting Things Done. Act without acting on, work without working at. Enter bountifulness when it is still insufficiency. Answer with kindness when faced with hostility. Begin a difficult task in its easy stage, because large problems grow from small ones. Begin a large task in its formative state, because complex issues originate from simple ones. But beware of those who promise quick and easy solutions. Accept problems as challenges. In this way, the sage accomplishes great tasks without ever having to struggle with them. The end. How does that strike you, Kelly?
I like it. I like the parts where, it's the old don't make a mole out of a mountain hill, or mountain hill out of a mole kind of thing. Where yeah, I mean, it goes back to treating people with integrity, with just being kind to people, and listening to what they have to say and not be so judgmental, and hear what they have to say. Don't jump to conclusions, and find a more peaceful way to help the conflict, if there's a conflict going on, to find an easier solution. And again, you don't always want to, it's not always your job to solve somebody else's issue. So, sometimes those issues are there for them to figure them out, and not for us to say, here's the solution. And it's more for them to figure that out. So it kind of goes along with cranial. When you're doing craniosacral therapy and someone starts to talk about something going on, you sit there and you support them. You ask them questions where the questions will help them be able to give an answer to, where you're not providing the answer, because then they're like, it's not helpful for them. So
yeah, you want them to come up with the solution, and then they're more likely to follow through.
Correct.
Yeah. That just reminds me, one time I was with a group of moms and kids, and the kids, they were like 5 years old, 7 years old. And one of the moms, her kids, they always just hovered next to her. And when she was kind of away with her kids, the other moms asked me, like, why are all the kids with her? And I'm like, I don't know. All I can do is lead by example. My kids are over there. They're running around playing capture the flag or whatever they were doing. And I couldn't tell her how to raise her kids. All I can do is show her how I do it. I don't force her to do it my way. And I'm not using strain. This is effortless action.
Yep.
I'm just being myself, and she can take it or leave it. It's her choice.
Yep. It's showing others, it's more of showing instead of doing.
Yeah, be an example.
Yep, being that yep. And that
And
can
I
be some
go ahead.
people to do. That can be hard for some people to do, is because they just want to fix everything, and things don't always need to be fixed.
Yeah, a client was just telling me about his current wife, and her children are like 40, around 40s. He was talking about one that mom's always telling us what to do. I was like, yeah, she had her chance to tell her kids what to do, but you can't keep doing that forever, right?
Yep, yep,
But what can you do? She's got to find her own way, I suppose.
yep.
Let me add a few things about this non-forcing, and also the Tao talks about it's it's not non-doing. You're still doing stuff, but you're not forcing it. The water doesn't force its way around the rock. It just flows around, like your definition at the very beginning was flowing. And when something is ready, then effort feels minimal. You know, you have to wait till your child comes to you and asks for your advice. You can't just tell them because they're not ready, and it's not going to do any good. They'll probably just stop coming to you.
Yep.
Go ahead.
You used an example the other day when we were talking about trying to get through the door, and you're pushing, trying to get through that door. You're trying to get to the other side. You're trying to get to the other side, and you're forcing and you're doing, and things just aren't moving, aren't going, until you realize, instead of forcing something to happen, I just stopped, recalibrated myself, got myself all fixed back up, and said, okay, what am I doing here? I'm forcing. So instead of forcing, you realize, oh, it's a pull open door. It's not a push open door. And you were like, oh, that makes so much more sense. And so that pushing and pulling is the same thing with the door. I want my business to grow. I want this to do. And sometimes we force a little bit too hard, and things just don't do what we want them to do, because we're forcing one way when there could be another way to do it, and it's a much easier way by just pulling the door open.
Yeah, yeah. And you were sharing with me about how with your business, when you finally stopped trying so hard and doing this and that, and if you want to share a little about that.
Yeah, for several years, my business just wasn't growing. I had enough to pay rent, but that was about it. And I had coaches, and I tried this and I tried that, and I feel like the stress of raising my kids when they were younger and trying to start the business, and just all that stuff, I felt like it was, I need to make this work. I need to get this going. And I just forced and forced and forced until I realized I needed to stop. Because I was like a chicken with my head cut off for many years, because I was running here, running there. I'm like, I got to get this thing going. And it was not going anywhere until I actually stopped and started to just let things kind of do themselves organically. And by that, organically, things started to move. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I was pushing in the wrong direction. I was forcing too many things, and that was a big lesson. But I also learned it through my son. I'll give another example. My son, he had some learning issues growing up, and I found a school that would would cater to his learning type and everything else. And I was like, this is really great. And we took him out of one school to another one. And in the first semester, he was just like, I don't like this place. I want to go back. And we went back to the other school, and we had meetings, and finally we got onto the road, and we were heading back to his school. And it hit me when I hit the freeway that I was forcing, and finally I just stopped and said, what do you want to do? Which school would you like to go to? You are X amount, however old he was. I think he was like 9 at the time. And I said, do you want to go to this school, or do you want to go to, it's your choice. I said, I am done trying to force, because we're just beating our heads against the wall. I said, what do you want? And that was a huge turning point for him and for me. And it also brings it back to that Wu Wei. It was just like that forcing. And once the two of us agreed on what school was appropriate, then the learning became easier for him. He started to excel, and things started to move easier, and it wasn't such a battle. So again, it's just stepping back when things get really tough, and just kind of reevaluating and seeing if you're forcing, or if you're just not quite getting it. Maybe it's just time to just sit back and just reevaluate everything, and look to see where the solution may be somewhere else.
That's great. That's a great story. It reminds me of my children. They were on the year-round swim team, and it was probably about 6 years we were into this team, and the main coaches had stepped down. They had another coach who had been the assistant coach. He was great and all that, but the rec center, I don't know why. They didn't want him or whatever. I don't remember all the details, but they were going to have this other guy come in that I didn't want. He was a lifeguard, so I had some interactions with him. And I didn't want him, and I was not petitioning, but I was, whatever the word is, talking to them like, hey, you need him, and this is why, don't give this guy. And apparently I was a little too outspoken. At one of the swim meets, and some of the other team coaches or whatever, I don't even know who I was talking to, but it got back to the rec center who, oversees the swim team, and I got a letter in the mail, and it said that we were off the team, me and my 2 kids, and we weren't allowed to go to the rec center for 3 months. And I was like, okay, this is not the way you handle things. There's an organization, USA Swimming, and you have to have a meeting. You can't just you're off the team. You have to give them some, due process or whatever. So I wrote this long 2-page letter, and I was so proud because it was just facts. It wasn't like they suck and blah, it was just, this is what happened. And then I talked to a friend of mine who was a Unity minister at one time, and she gave me some good advice as I realized that I didn't want to be on the swim team. I'm like, why am I forcing my way to be on the swim team with my kids? And they really didn't care. It was more like PE. I homeschooled my kids, so this was their PE. And so I just didn't send the letter. I let it go. That was 3 practices a week plus all these weekends and driving and money and all this, and just let that go. And everything was fine. We lived through it. And then one of the leaders of the rec center, you run into her at the farmers market in town, and you just see her feel like, oh no, what is she going to say to me? And I was like totally nice because I didn't care. I didn't care what they did to me. It didn't matter to me. I was like, oh, these are your children. Oh, how are you doing? And I felt really good how I handled it because I really didn't have that grudge. It was what it was, and that was fine with me.
Yeah. Nice. You flowed. You flowed once you stood back, and that was really great of the minister to help.
Trying to push that door, push it open when I didn't even want to open the door. I didn't want the door. But let me say something else, because you were talking about your business, and this relates to what Jonathan and Trish were talking about on Monday's call, available on Rumble and BitChute and YouTube if not already. Okay, so they were talking about kind of like affirmations and stuff. And when I started saying this one, my business just started flowing more. It was, I'm astonished at how many perfect new clients book sessions with me every week. And 4 signed up in 2 days. Nice. So I just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm magical. But saying I'm astonished, it really puts that feeling with it and gets me into it, reminding me not just, oh, I get new clients all the time. It was putting that feeling with it. And that's what, we're getting way off Wu Wei, but that's what Neville Goddard teaches a lot. So you can look him up on YouTube. Anyway, wanted to say that because that was a really interesting podcast with Jonathan and Tricia. Y'all can go look it up on the Blue Star Connection. Awesome. Okay.
Nice.
So let's just finish this part up, because there's some reflection you all can think about your own life. Like, where in your life are you trying to help something grow by pushing it? And what could happen if you just paused your effort instead of increasing it? So that's just something y'all can think about now, or maybe you want to, I don't know, we haven't asked for volunteers to come on and ask a question, but maybe you want to, maybe you don't. Anyhow. All right. Where do you want to go
for other people to join in if they want to ask a question? So.
Sure.
But, yeah. Do you have another parable that you want to read?
You know I do.
I know you do.
I really like this one. It's about simplicity over excess. So we've touched on this a little bit, but this parable is called the heavy pack. So a traveler packed for every possible danger, and halfway up the mountain he collapsed under the weight. Another traveler, carrying only what was needed, passed him quietly. So what is unnecessary becomes a burden. That reminds me of, like, I'm just going to do more. I always give the excuse, well, I was a Girl Scout. I have to be prepared. I have to bring my water and my food and a sleeping bag. No, I'm exaggerating, but I don't know.
It reminds me of my husband, because Troy is Mr. Preparedness all the time. You know, he makes sure there's always water. He makes sure that there's gloves or coats and hats, and there's jump kits, there's, you name it, he has it, you know. We're going to go, let's say, if we're going to go somewhere, he's like, well, do you have a blanket? Do you have this? And what food are we going to take? Or what are we going to do with this? And what are we going to do with that? And he is Mr. Boy Scout to the T, even though he did maybe 1 or 2 years of Boy Scouts. He is Mr. Boy Scout.
I like Troy.
So it's that preparedness, you know. It's you know, what do you really need? What is really needed and what isn't needed, you know. Poor guy who walked up that hill with with everything underneath but the kitchen sink, and the other guy's just do 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 do. I think it's trust.
Yeah. I think it, well, also, you want to be prepared to a certain extent, of course. You want to have your 3-month supply of food, in case of an emergency. But it's also, I think, in my case, is it's wanting to control a bit and the trust, that everything will be provided for. Talk about like decluttering. I want to declutter. I need to declutter, but I like this. I might need it. And the like the 2 times in my life when I gave away something and wanted it later. I guess I'm not trusting. But I do have the verse to share with you. Are you ready for this one?
Yep.
This is verse 9 about stopping short rather than filling to the brim. Okay, it's called overfulfillment. Keep filling your bowl and it will spill over. Keep sharpening your knife and it will blunt. Keep hoarding gold in your house and you will be robbed. Keep seeking approval and you will be chained. The great integrity leads to actualization, never overfulfillment. So we don't want excess. We want to be prepared, but we don't need 4 pairs of gloves, right?
Right.
We just need 1 pair of good gloves that'll get us from here to there. If you lose one, you'll live.
Yep.
So, and I think it goes back to me wanting to do so much and do more, because less busyness means you're more effective where you're needed.
Right.
Yeah.
But it could also be the busier you are, the busier you are, you can just you don't have to put your attention on what things are really either important or uncomfortable, or those things that, and it's probably more uncomfortable. I feel like a lot of people, including myself, is that uncomfortableness. I would rather clean my house than go talk in front of 50 people.
I'd rather talk in front of 50 people than clean the house.
So it's just one of those things where you find excuses to not do something that's either very uncomfortable, or you just really don't want to do it, or it's working out. I think Christopher used this one last night on his talk, where you're laying in bed and you're like, okay, this bed feels really good, but you really need to get up and you need to go work out. You need to move your body. And I just would rather sit here or lay here in my nice comfortable bed than get up and go work out. It's cold out there. We have cold weather up here. But yeah,
you can exercise later, right?
Exactly. I'll shovel the snow. That'll be my exercise.
After I watch this show, then I'll exercise or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's avoiding the uncomfortable and all that stuff you listed. I would agree. And this might be a good time to talk about why we struggle against the Wu Wei. I think we're just conditioned as a culture to hustle, right? And we just, you got to try harder. You have to work hard. They're always telling you, work hard and you'll get ahead. Right. When that's not the way to get ahead.
Right.
But that's what all these inspirational speeches, work hard.
Exactly. And if you go to other countries, they don't have that same mentality. They have, you rest. Europe, they like when their football teams or soccer teams play. Everybody takes holiday, and you know, that's an example of them just, you know what, we work our 5 days, but when soccer tournaments and whatever they call them over there come along, then we take holiday because we're going to watch and support, and that's the way they do things. They find some of the things of their life more important than working 70 to 80 hours a week. Where over here in the United States, we tend to like push the metal to the pedal, and we're like, woof, no stopping, no vacations, no nothing. We're trying to climb that corporate ladder or trying to make that next dollar, and well, the end result is we all end up in a, very bad adrenal glands and sick, and by the time we get in our older years when we should be slowing down, now we're debilitated. So, it's about us stopping and taking time to smell the coffee and the roses, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on Europe, but in high school they were teaching us, like the French, they take the whole month of August off.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about when you were talking, in Mexico they have their siesta. They eat lunch and then they have their siesta, or they'll tell you, they'll do it mañana, and mañana translates for us to tomorrow, but that doesn't mean they're going to do it tomorrow.
Exactly. And these are just some fun things to think about, the way our culture is over somebody else's culture, and how, you can apply the Wu Wei to more, or bring it more into our culture to just kind of help get us all to be more relaxed and get less things off our plate and be less stressed and live more healthier life. Isn't that the goal? To be less stressed and more healthy and live longer and be happy?
And we know we're not so healthy in this country as a whole. That's sad. So another reason why we struggle is the fear of letting go, the fear of chaos, the fear of being irresponsible. We have to control. We have to do what we can do, or I don't know. I think it's also kind of maybe being judged. Fear of being judged is not good enough. I think that's a big one. Or ego, just that people look at us, what do you do for a living? What are you putting your effort in? So
Exactly.
I don't know if you have any comments on that before I move on.
Yeah, well, ego is big, people identify themselves by their egos, and they use it as status. You get people in corporates, I'm now a VP, or now I'm, this head of this company, or I'm doing this, and you go to parties, and it's money, it's status, it's in, I don't think I want that type of life. It's not for me, but I don't want to judge their life. So if that works for them, good for them, but I prefer just a more simple, more flowy, more relaxed life, and not have to worry about how the neighbor next door, what he's making, or what my status is, and how does he view me, and all that. So
yeah, and that's what Lao Tzu was saying, is everything's a cycle, and we're going to get there. That's where we're heading, and we're working on helping. Well, I'm working on myself. And then maybe other people will see, like, hey, Kim looks happy. What's she doing? I think I want to ask her what she's doing. So we'll see if that ever happens. And so here's a question for the audience to think about. Where am I pushing when life is already moving? Why are we trying to struggle against just letting it flow?
Yep.
Anywho,
Yeah. You got any other great wisdom there?
I have tons of great wisdom that's not from me. I really like this one. Let me find it. I'm sure you will. Empty space is essential. This one's pretty cool. This parable is the cup. So, a student asked the teacher what made a cup useful. The teacher filled it to the brim and continued pouring. Now tell me, the teacher said, where would the tea go? So if the cup is already full, there's nowhere to go. But I think this is a better verse. It's called The Importance of What Is Not, is verse 11. So this is the foundational teaching on emptiness in the Tao. We join 30 spokes to the hub of a wheel, yet it's the center whole that drives the chariot. We shape clay to birth a vessel, yet it's the hollow within that makes it useful. We chisel doors and windows to construct a room, yet it's the inner space that makes it livable. Thus do we create what is to use what is not. I love that end sentence. We're creating stuff to use what's not what we formed. I just think that's, you're creating a cup to have that emptiness so we can fill it and unfill it and use it. I don't know. It just strikes me as neat.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like with the eternal teaching. I think it was in the eternal teachings where what was it? Maybe it was the eternal teachings where the emptiness that is full. You know, when you have that stillness, that's what I'm looking for. That stillness, and you're empty, but it's full too at the same time. So your creativity, your ability to be able to problem solve or find solutions, just in that stillness, that becomes this, this emptiness becomes this fullness that gives you the things that you need at that particular time.
Right. If you're so full, you can't move around. If you're in a room crowded with people, you can't express yourself. You can't dance. It wouldn't be any fun. That's why I don't like to go to concerts. That is not fun to me. That's one of the reasons I don't like concerts.
Yeah. So yeah, you want that fullness. You want that emptiness, but it's full, at the same time. So yeah, cool. I like it.
And some of the emptiness is useful. It also talked about silence gives meaning to sound. Christopher talks about music, and you wouldn't enjoy the beat if you didn't have the space between the beat. You have to have space to enjoy that. And space gives function to form, and rest allows clarity to emerge. You were talking about that. To make a decision, you have to just kind of have the room to do it. If you're
right.
too busy adding 1 + 2 and where's my money going, then you don't have that room to take care of the important things.
Yep.
So what we leave undone is as important as what we do. So, and I love my mother. She's passed, but I love what she told me once was, there's more important things than a clean house.
Yes.
And then she'd come over and point out what I didn't do. The one thing I didn't do, I bust my butt cleaning the whole house, and I'm like looking at that fake tree going like, oh, I didn't dust that tree, but I can't do it. I'm too exhausted. And then she comes over, that tree needs dusting. I should have handed her a dust cloth, right?
Yep.
Which,
yep.
This is just a funny story. My dad came to visit, and so I told him, this is after my mom passed, I said, if you see anything that needs to be done, you're welcome to do it. And this is what he did. My table had a leaf in it, so it has the cracks. There was food in it because I had kids. He pulled it apart and he was scraping up the food. I appreciated it because I did not want to do that.
Exactly.
I speak to 50 people. I hope you all enjoyed that little. That was my parable. You see something needs to be done, you're welcome to do it. So they also talk about in daily life, we want to leave pauses in the conversation. Who likes it when people never stop talking and give you a chance to talk or talk about themselves all the time? I won't name names because you don't know them anyway, but maybe they would get back to them. Leaving a margin in your schedules. That's why I don't make schedules. Because my plans always change. There's always something that comes up. Like today, I had all these plans. I have all this time to do this stuff. And then it's like, oh, I have to do this for my husband. And I'm happy to do it. But if I didn't have that room to do it, I might have not flowed with it. But hey, I got paid for it.
Yeah. Well, it's like having kids. That's what a lot of times kids teach you to, you know what, you may have the best intentions and this is the way life's going to go, but once you have kids, your thoughts of this is how life's going to go takes like a 180 because you're like, oh crap, now what do I do, Because everybody's changing. They're changing, their schedule changes, and you're just kind of like, all right, I guess I just have to flow. And you can see the parents that don't flow very well because they're really stressed out because this is not how it's supposed to be. And you're like, just kind of flow, just take that pivot turn. And so, yeah.
I thought I would just explain it to my kids and they would just be perfect kids. I would just explain why they need to be perfect. Not perfect, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And then the first time when they get sick, that just ruins all your plans, right? You don't get to sleep. They want you, and just stay there. I'm going to bed. That didn't go over too well.
No. Especially when they're little, they want their moms.
Yeah, and then they want you to hold them so you can't do anything else. And you sit there holding him going like, I'd rather be doing housework. I say, I need to put clothes in there. I need clean underwear tomorrow. And I'm exaggerating because I'm always prepared. I have plenty of underwear. So here's a reflection question for you. Where do you intentionally create space? So are you creating space in your schedule and, or leaving with time for something to go wrong, to get somewhere on time? And I don't know, I'm going to hope my daughter doesn't listen to this. She drives me nuts because she's almost always late. And it's like she has 2 kids. Yeah, but I had 2 kids. And I was on time or I was early. I heard one mom complaining. I don't know if call it complaining, but she said like, oh, I have to be ready early because Kim will be here. I never thought being early was a problem. But I guess it is. Oh, well.
Maybe the next time you can just say, just flow with it.
She's the same one who always talks about herself. Ran into her at Walmart, and she's telling me about this, I don't know what you call it, it's lard, essentially, that you rub on your for lotion.
Okay.
I don't know, do they call it lard? I don't know. I forget what they call it. But never once did I have her ask me what I was doing. And then I was like, oh, I have to go, because after like 10 minutes, I was like, you're boring me. I left space because we run into people we know in my town. It's very common. Anyhow. All right. Anything you want to bring up?
No, I think we've done a pretty decent job of covering that.
Okay. I want to share some of the Tao because I took the time to do it for y'all, and you might like it.
Okay.
I'm going to do this one. It's verse 64. Those who rush fail. We're talking about being early, but now it's like, don't rush. The title is Timing. It's easy to hold what is still stable. It's easy to mold what is not yet formed. It is easy to shatter what is still fragile. It is easy to scatter what is yet light and small. Therefore, act now rather than wait. Get things done before it's too late. A huge tree that you can't get your arms around grows from a tiny seedling birth. A tower of 9 stories rises from a small heap of earth. A 1,000-mile journey begins with 1 step. Those who procrastinate and those who take premature actions fail. Those who interfere in processes disrupt them. Those who hold tightly to possessions lose everything. Wise people succeed because they never force an outcome. They never suffer a loss because they are not attached to anything. Many succeed in gathering a few assets, but when the stakes begin to sail and greed crashes through all cautionary boundaries, failures mercifully prevail. Wise people don't accumulate possessions or teach anyone to amass things. They devote themselves to the natural rhythms that the great integrity brings. So I think this really emphasizes patience, readiness, restraint. I know we've all heard a 1,000-mile journey begins with 1 step or something like that. But I also like the not being attached. Christopher's kind of just not being attached to the outcome. And I think a lot of people get upset because they have expectations that how things will go, and they don't go that way, and then they get upset.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Instead of saying, oh, well. That's a teaching I learned from Roseanne Barr. I thought she was such a great mom. This is before I was a mom. I'm like, she is so smart. She was trying to teach DJ, the little one, like she was so upset. She's all, you need to learn this phrase. Oh, well.
Yeah.
But it's true. People thought I was kidding, but no. And then my daughter watched Roseanne, and she's all like, now I really get you, Mom.
Things that we learn from.
Yeah. TV. So, do you have any stories about timing that you want to share? Putting you on the spot a little bit.
Timing.
We talked a little bit about that with, well, I don't know. Do you feel rushed to get things done?
Sometimes. So I guess I could say, you know, I feel a lot of times the timing when I'm with my dad, because my dad likes things a certain way. And so, um, him, one, being on time is very important to him, or just getting to his house is important. When my mom was around, um, she was very stuck in, I need this, you said you were going to be here at this time and you were 15 minutes late. It was like earth shattering. So there's that for timing. Um, I like to be on time if at all possible. Um, there's times when, like, I would say if my plane is delayed, sometimes I don't always handle that well because I just want to get home or I just want to get to where I'm going. So timings of like that, sometimes I don't always flow as well as I could. um, yeah, I, timing. It's about, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
As you were talking, reminded me of, because it's talked about procrastination and they fail if you procrastinate. And it just reminds me of the time when you don't clean up all the dog hair on the floor is when you're going to spill on the floor, and then it's just such a pain to clean up because you got all this dog hair around. But that's a silly example, but I always just know I want to do that because if I don't, I'll regret it.
Yep.
And so it's worth it, just get it done. And anyway, so maybe we should start wrapping up.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So how would you just put in a nutshell about the Wu Wei? Let's kind of go over it again. What is the Wu Wei? It's not about doing more. What is it?
I feel like it's about just being in the presence and going more with the flow, what feels good to you, what feels right in what you're doing. Not to push, not to pull, to be that centerness and be that tree in the wind and just kind of flow as life, when life throws you punches, you just kind of flow with it. And I feel like that's kind of where the Wu Wei goes and helps.
Yeah, and if you read the Tao, you'll notice that it doesn't tell you what to do. It kind of tells you what happens if you don't interfere. Things just flow and all that. If you just kind of go with it and work with nature, work with the universe, and stop trying to control and push and force. Yeah, I would agree. So y'all at home, you can just think about what is one small area in your life where you might want to stop pushing and just start listening. And remember, do your light, sound, and presence. I'm not advocating LSD. I'm advocating LSP.
Yes.
So no, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
So tell us where we can find Christopher coming up.
So Christopher's coming up this coming weekend. He's going to be in St. Petersburg on the 17th and 18th. He does Spirit Fest there. Him, Jonathan, and Trisha will be doing tuning forks and cranial psychotherapy. So they got a lot of great things coming that weekend. If you're in the area, you should stop by, see them, say hi, get a tuning because they're amazing, and get sessions with Trisha because she does great cranial. All of it will be just wonderful. And then the following weekend, January 24th and 25th, Christopher's offering Go Direct. It is a way to increase your letting the sandbags go, I should say, letting the sandbags go and helping your spiritual process just flower even more. And then he has the following weekend after that, he's got a packed schedule here, is called the Blue Star Mystery School in Palm Bay. That's January 31st and the 1st. And that starts all the mystery school teachings. And Kim and I both have been through the teachings, and we find them very helpful, very, they're just very insightful. And if you have any way of going, you should be there. And also, you know, if you want to increase your spirituality, this is another great way to do it. Then in February, towards the end, and this will be the last one for right now, is Christopher's teaching the Sound Energy Dynamics Intensive, and that's February 21st and 22nd. And that's using the tuning forks on the body, and he will explain how he has created these wonderful tuning forks that do such an amazing job with the body and around the body. And I highly recommend them.
Yeah.
And
can I just add to the mystery school, there's 4 modules, and that's the first weekend of the first module. And also, in case people are like watching this years from now, we're on January 14th, 2026, they can find Spirit Fest. I think it's spiritfestusa.com. Maybe you can Google it, but you'll be able to find him because he's going to live forever. That's my plan. But for our podcast, we got Bliss coming up Monday night, 7:30 Eastern. She's going to talk about fun with energy, and she's been playing with energy for decades, so that'll be cool. And then Tuesday night, same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, Christopher does his weekly wisdom call almost every Tuesday night. I think he takes a break around Christmas. So you'll find him there talking about current events or whatever comes up. That's what he talks about. And then Wednesday is another Blue Star Connection podcast with Joseph. And he's the same way. He embraces the Wu Wei. We don't know what he's going to talk about. He does not know what he's going to talk about because he's going to go with the flow. And that's what's going on then. And then Kelly and Kim, that's who you're listening to in case you didn't get that. We're going to be next on February 11th, so you have to tune in to see what we'll talk about next.
Yes.
Oh, and I want to say they're all free, and they're all live at this time, but we do replays on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube, and maybe other places as we get this going. There you go.
Sounds great. I look forward to all of it.
Did we forget anything?
Nope, I don't think so. I think we got it all. Do you want to do our closing oneness?
Yeah, here's another poem by Christopher Timms, ChristopherTimms.com. All right. So in the beginning, there was the oneness, and the oneness became bored. So it dreamed. It dreamed that there were the worlds of matter, energy, space, and time. It dreamed that there was you, and it dreamed that there was me. It dreamed that there were places to go and things to do. It dreamed that there were things to grow into and things to become. It dreamed that there was great mission and great purpose in living. Because the oneness became bored, and it dreamed. It dreamed. It dreamed. Thank you, everybody. You have a wonderful night, and we will see you next time.
Baraka Brashad. May the blessings be.